What's up, everyone? This is Jake, a UEFA licensed coach, a passionate USMNT fan, and probably your 8th favorite USMNT YouTuber. I'm here to talk about the US versus Colombia match that just occurred, a 0-0 draw that caps off the January Camp Cupcake. But it wasn't a Camp Cupcake this time, and that's really where I want to focus a lot of the attention today. This was all about bringing in new and veteran players that got a taste of the USMNT camp. From players like John Tolkin today and Paxton Aronson to Cade Cowell and many others. Alan Senora. We had Ali Zendejas get a ton of time. It was also starting for Club America tonight as well. But really, it was just great to see a lot of the new faces that are coming into the camp. And if we were talking about this Camp Cupcake 4 years ago, right? The time at which we are preparing for the World Cup, starting the cycle over again. If we were to look at that team, there are so many good players now to choose from Major League Soccer that it's really not a burden on us to not be able to have a lot of our European-based players. But even if you look outside of MLS, right, you have Paxton Aronson coming from Frankfurt, you have Matthew Hoppe coming from Middlesbrough, all of these players that are kind of just getting their feet wet in Europe, although Matthew Hoppe has to be said that he just needed some time. He needed some game time with the senior team to get back on his feet. I think he did okay tonight, but really he just wasn't at the full speed that he needed to be. There was especially one where he won the ball well, got himself into a good position. There are 4 runners for the U.S. going into the box, but he was only able to win a corner. He also probably should have squared the ball that was through from Jesus Ferreira. Great pass, by the way. As Jesus was playing in more of a 10 role and dropping into the midfield, he played really well, I thought, and we didn't get a ton of chances. Jesus Ferreira had 1 or 2 in the box, didn't do well on them. It was just a very rusty game, right? The thing that I liked about the game against Colombia was just the speed and intensity of the match. There were a few yellow cards, which you really don't see from friendlies very often. So it was good to see that from these friendlies, with the best talent that we can provide from Major League Soccer, your Walker Zimmermans, your John Tolkins, your Kellen Acostas, those players probably would have been part of the A team in years past, but are now able to be the veterans, be the ones from Major League Soccer that are adding to this team. I especially liked the creativity that we had in the midfield for having Kellen Acosta, Eric Williamson, and Paxton Aronson. When we have seen Greg Berhalter play, there hasn't really been a creative player that can thread those through balls, and even when Yunus Musa is playing that way, he's kind of played in a straight, flat 4-3-3 midfield. Whereas Paxton Aronson tonight, I thought, even though he was playing in a bit of a two-way role, he was really trying to get into attacking positions. Especially in that first half, he did really well. He almost had 2 goals, one of them off the post, the other a good save by the keeper that he probably should have slotted home, but still, just to have another Aronson come through the ranks and join the team for the senior national team was great to see. He kind of fell off in the second half, and I thought that can really be down to the game time where he's at and just how much game time he's getting, how much stamina he has to give. He did get closed down a few times in that second half, but I still thought he did well, and he's probably my man of the match. Maybe John Tolkin has a shout, but not a ton of other players did a lot with their time. I thought the back line, for the most part, did okay. DeJuan Jones and John Tolkin especially were the standouts for me. It was weird to see that Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long were both a little bit slower in transition moments to just get back in position, and especially Aaron Long, just losing the ball a ton of times. And at this point, I really think it's safe to say Aaron Long has to be on the outside looking in for the USMNT, especially as we have players like Chris Richards coming up to speed again. Aaron Long just has to be kind of that 6th or 7th option for the US. Can we also just finish out that while I thought the ref did an okay job of managing the game in terms of its intensity, for a friendly to have that many yellow cards is really rare to see. But when he needed to step into those dangerous and kind of choppy moments, I thought he did okay. However, this has to be a handball, right? I mean, hand, ball, that's a handball. So that wraps up the January camp, the restart of our World Cup cycle. Lost to Serbia 2-1, tied Colombia 0-0. And all I have to say is it was great to see a ton of new players get their debuts, a ton of veterans being added to the camp where they are some of the best in Major League Soccer, And all in all, this was a really nice roster to see on the field for 2 matches. I really don't think us as fans learned a ton. I mean, we don't have a manager to be able to break down all of the tactical nuance, right? I mean, Hudson is going to be a coach and a manager that really just puts the players in position to try and do their best. But I really don't think he's going to be instilling a ton of tactical genius in this. Even if he was the full manager, he's not known for that. So I think for the time being, we can be really happy that a ton of players saw their debuts. Congrats to all of them. I'm very happy for all of them. I don't think there's a ton to take away from the results, whether it be the loss or the draw. And because it's going to be a while until we have a new sporting director and therefore manager, let's just enjoy this moment to take a little breath. Let's reflect on the year, the crazy year that we've had, and look ahead to the Nations League qualifiers coming up in a few months, which we will obviously be covering. So if you are a fan of the U.S. men's national team, if you love U.S. soccer, if you want to follow all of that, plus the women's team as we get ready for this summer's World Cup, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time on It's Called Soccer. Peace.